And welcome back to the Buggy-sama Fan Club. Yeah! Today is Saturday, September 13th. This is your boy Jahan here with
Alex.
And our special guest hailing from Japan,
John.
Yeah!
Woo!
Had updates from all 3 chapters. Hell yeah. One of them is coming to a close, surely but slowly, and I think he's trying to squeeze a little bit of milk out of those dry little titties, but we'll see how it turns out. Yeah.
Just powder coming out.
Yeah, there's just powder at this point. We're talking about you, Kishi. But, yeah, so we're going to start off as per usual with Bleach 596. Rabadolls 3. Yeah. So it starts off, yeah, zombified, Kensei and Rose are there, and Byakuya's all confused, like, you guys. What's-his-face gets, 69 face gets knocked out. I just want to point out real quick that,
pretty hilariously.
Yeah, definitely hilariously, but throughout the entire chapter, like, anytime that we see one of these, like, reconverted zombified captains fighting, it's only Kensei. Rose literally does nothing. It's only Kensei. Like, Kensei knocks out 69 Phase. Kensei knocked out Pepe. Kensei knocks out... He kills the Roach Girl. And he knocks out and deals with Pepe again. So, basically, our suspicions have been confirmed. Rose is useless.
Or Kubo just has some favoritism for designed characters, man.
Rose has design. Look at his hair. It's all luscious and flowy and...
Yeah, dude, he looks like a rock star.
What does he do again? What does Rose actually do?
His sword turns into a whip.
I think we tell you every week what he does.
Well, his sword turns into a whip.
His sword turns into a whip, and he just like whips people with it.
Yeah.
Like Indiana Jones.
Uh-huh.
But his Bankai is actually pretty cool. He makes like sound waves, and like based on his sound waves, like you get fucked up if you listen to them.
So kind of like the sound-ins from Naruto?
It's kind of like sense manipulation through sound waves.
Uh-huh.
It's another like sense manipulator, Bankai.
Okay. What about the other dude? The guy with the 69 chest.
He has like brass
sword,
knuckles.
Dude, his sword, his Shikai turns it into a freaking like Bowie knife, like a Rambo knife. Because like, that's apparently
that's kind of familiar.
Tactically more useful than a sword, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then later,
it's a sword befitting someone with a 69 on their chest.
And then
it's definitely not tactful.
And then later, like,
are you saying that the 69 is not tactful? Is that what you're getting at?
No, the 69 is extremely tactful.
The 69 is necessary.
Get that confused or anything, you know.
Wait,
so enemies will see the 69 and they shall know fear.
so then why is it appropriate he would have a non-tactful weapon?
I think
it's not really
poking holes in your.
Yeah, I think you're just nitpicking right here, man.
No, it's because it's a completely badass weapon, and whoever has the gall to put 69 on their chest deserves a weapon like that.
Because everyone else gets like swords and stuff. Like Kenpachi gets like this huge ass axe cleaver thing, and he's like, "Oh, I have a Bowie knife. I'm gonna kill you with a Bowie knife."
Close combat.
He probably like carved that tattoo with his Bowie knife. Yeah.
And his Bankai, he gets like these 2 brass knuckle type things, because that's even more useful than a Bowie
so
knife.
Shikai is the Bowie knife, and the Bankai is brass knuckles.
Which is like, it's cool, but I'm pretty sure...
It's like wind related, I think.
Just like Naruto then, like Asuma.
Dude,
he's got like, those Bowie knives
yeah.
wind chakra.
But like, the thing is, I'm pretty sure he
exactly.
couldn't beat Yamamoto in a fist fight as it is. And his Bankai being something that supports his fist fighting is like, dude, how did you become a captain level? Like, there are so many much stronger people out there.
Does the Bankai do anything specifically, like, or is it just literally brass knuckles?
It's literally...
Yeah, it was explained once, but I forgot.
Was it cool? Like, did it help him out in his like sort of close combat specialty?
Definitely.
It helped him. Oh, he showed it when he was fighting that one guy,
the star guy.
Yeah, the luchador.
What did it do? Do you remember?
He wrecked. He punches him in the chest. And he says, "As long as my fist is on you, you can't use like a certain part of your body." So the master guy was like, "Arr," and he just kept like wailing on him.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's also still like not useful because like
You have to have
'Cause you
touch
have
the
to-
guy.
have
Let's
your
see.
fist on him.
Tekken Touch Kaze focuses all of its Shikai form's destructive power into its knuckle blades. As a result, Kensei's punch release immense explosive force on impact. This explosive power continues to assault his opponent endlessly as long as his fist remains in contact with his opponent. So if he holds his fist to your chest, you just keep getting blasted with like punches, I guess. Yeah. You feel the force of it,
Yeah.
which I guess is cool. It's pretty brawler.
it's pretty brawler. Ha.
But anyway, yeah, Rose, he's just been like wanking it on the side. I have control again.
So yeah, he gets knocked out. They have eyes like Deadpool. He goes like, "Here's your sword back, bruh." Like, cause that's totally like, that's totally like an important thing. Like Kensei walks up to him, he's like, "Oh."
But does he take the sword back? Because he's still in his hand, right? In the next page. So he like tries to hand it to him, but doesn't actually hand it to him. Is that what happened?
I think he takes it, but they don't show a panel of him
Don't they
taking
just
it.
yeah?
But then isn't the sword still under?
Yeah, it's still
what's his
under
face's
Pepe's control.
Control? That it doesn't make any sense.
And if what's his face? 69 face, not 69 chest.
Yeah.
If that guy was still trying to attack them after Pepe was knocked out, that means like as soon as like Byakuya grabs the sword again, it should try to kill him. So Kubo flaws. Yay. And then,
Do you think these guys still have their hollow powers? I don't remember if they explained if they disappeared or not. Because remember, these guys were Vizards, right?
Yeah, they were all Vizards.
I thought they all had him still. Why wouldn't they have him?
Well, they haven't
Yeah.
used them yet.
Yeah, but I mean that doesn't mean they don't have him though, right?
Yeah, they haven't used them, which I guess, yeah, that's what made me forget about them. But yeah, they should totally be using them, unless they were decreed like
Yeah,
outlaw.
you can't use this while you guys are captains again.
Yeah. But like when you're facing an enemy like this, that'd be pretty badass if they just broke out in mask.
Yeah, dude. What if like while they're zombified, they can remain in hollowification mode indefinitely as long as they're like zombies?
Oh, that'd be pretty gnarly actually, because they get like a huge power boost from it.
Yeah, because it only lasts like a minute, right, or like a half a minute.
Like
Yeah,
Ichigo
usually.
could hold it like the longest
Yeah.
or whatever. And he still couldn't hold it that long. And
Yeah, that'd be pretty
we
cool.
can't really compare them to Ichigo because the way they came about having hollow powers and the way he did is not really the same. So just because Ichigo still has his hollow powers doesn't guarantee that they still have theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to rule out that they don't have it. Or I'm not going to rule out that they have it, you know. They might have it still, they're just not using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's likely to have it.
Or, I mean, what's-his-face could have, like, figured something out for them if they didn't want it anymore. If they deemed it as a burden to them.
Why would you though? It's
I
like
know.
so useful, right?
I know. It's like Goku saying, I don't want to go Super Saiyan anymore. I just want to fight with my regular shit.
Yeah. That blonde hair is fucking Aryan.
His eyes become blue, too, right?
They
Yep.
turn green.
Oh, yeah, green.
Goku's?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Close enough. So we go into
Rare and
flashback
pigmented.
mode.
Yep.
In flashback mode, it shows that like the captains are basically unscathed, and the Aron card that he sent at them are fucked up. So they were indeed still stronger than Aron Carr, which is something that I kind of had to be guaranteed to me because
Wait. Why
I
do you
don't
think?
believe it anymore.
Wait, why do you think that they're superior to Arankar?
these guys are captains,
Yeah.
captain level captains.
But, I mean, they
and
got
these guys
defeated
aren't
though,
even
right?
Espada. These were like
Yeah. These
supporter.
are like yeah.
And this guy was
underlings.
like
Yeah.
a number 14, number 13 or something.
But
like
then,
that.
but they won the battle though, didn't they? Because they got zombified.
No, they explain how they get zombified because they fall over and they're like writhing on the ground out of control because he says, I've injected some drugs into the blood systems of the Aron Carr. So
Okay,
when they
yeah.
slashed the Aron Carr and got hit with the blood,
Yeah.
basically the same way that the zombie girl took over them in the first place,
Yeah.
which is kind of whack, but
I'm imagining like the animation of them writhing on the ground. They're like sizzling like bacon, like pretty fucking funny.
What? Like bacon?
Yeah, dude, they're just like sitting on the ground, like sizzling like bacon, you know?
They even put in like they like edit in the sound effects too.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like they get superimposed where you just see like bacon, like, just kind of like overshadowing them.
This
you
is
know,
not
sort
an
of like-
advertisement.
They're playing like the Twilight Zone theme.
Yeah.
Going back and forth. It's going back and forth between bacon and them. Oh man.
And then that just ends the episode.
Next time.
It's the highest played episode of Bleach ever.
It's like no context, just makes no sense. Yeah. What are we even talking about now?
Talking about bacon.
Bacon, like.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, right. So they're writhing on the ground because it got poisoned, and then
No, they were. One might argue that they were. They got the antidote.
not really. They just got a different poison. 'cause
Yeah,
they're not
more
even-
advanced poison.
Yeah,
That's
they're not
what I would
even-
consider.
Yeah, they
it
don't
as.
have like control. It's not like he gave them an antidote and they're like back to being normal now.
Antidote is poison, bros.
All right, whatever you say.
It's counteractive poison. Anyway.
All right, whatever you say, John. So, what's his face? Kensei requires a double dose because he's like apparently too badass. It would low-key make sense because like they said, the stronger your enemy is, the more blood you need. Mm-hmm. And Kensei is technically larger than Rose, so his body would need more blood to like, work anyway. So yeah, Kensei requires a double dose. Or maybe he's just like an addict and his tolerance is really high to stuff. Maybe he couldn't
like a Lance Armstrong addict.
Yeah, no, maybe he couldn't like deal with being a Vizard, getting kicked out of the captainhood in the first place. So when he goes to not Soul Society, but Karakura Town to become a Vizard, he's like coping with his fears by injecting heroin and smoking meth every day, and like now he needs double doses of everything to feel normal. That's my
That's plausible.
deep inner analysis of Kensei right there, man.
That's plausible.
And that's why he was out of shape when he was a Vizard, and now he's all buff and stuff.
Was he out of shape when he was a Vizard?
He lost like a bitch.
But was he out of shape though?
No, he wasn't out of shape.
He
He was
still had,
still
like,
jacked.
major muscles, right?
Yeah, he was still jacked as hell, dude.
He definitely looks like the kind of guy who would have sucked dick for crack.
He's got those DSL, man. Those
Dick sucking lips.
dick sucking lips, man.
I have no fucking clue what you guys are talking about. He does not look like. He looks like a very strong, sturdy man. A very.
You're right. He looks
man.
like the kind of guy who gets his dick sucked to give crack.
No, just in general, he gets his dick sucked.
So I retract my statement. Kensei's like the guy getting head
Yeah,
from Rose, basically.
from Rose, exactly. From Rose. That's why like Rose is seen not fighting, because Kensei does all the work, and Rose pays him off afterwards for doing all the work. Kensei does all like the arm and fighting work, and Rose does all the mouth and throat work.
He activates Shikai, gets that whip, and like whips Kensei on the ass or something.
You've been a bad boy. Let me play my music for you. Alright, so there's an explanation of how Mayuri overcomes cockroach zombie bitch's zombification process. He says the blood required to take over a subject like varies depending on how strong they are. So guys like Kensei and Rose and what's his face? Hitsugaya. I was about to call him Hyorin Maru, but Hitsugaya, they turned all like Native American looking because they required way more blood than the regular fodder Shinigami were. So he overcomes that by like changing the blood that's in their body, so it's no longer being controlled by her blood. It's being controlled by another blood that he synthetically created in his pretty jacked up lab. I'm pretty sure he has like the gnarliest lab ever. I'm pretty sure there's like creatures.
He does say he has blood samples of everyone.
Yeah.
Literally everybody, so. I don't know what else he has. He's got like corpses. He's got rub dolls of everybody.
He probably has clones, dude. He's probably made a clone.
Clones? Oh, clones, yeah.
And He says, "Your zombies will become my zombies." With a, is that an epic face? Does that count as an epic face?
I don't know what that is. It looks kind of meme-ish.
Epic troll face.
Dude, what
Epic
if
troll face.
he takes all the DNA of all the Vizards and the Arankar and the Shinigami and the after this arc
Quincy.
the Quincy, and he makes a super android, right? Who has all the genes of all the characters of the story, right? But then in order in order to like become like the ultimate android though, he has to absorb 2 other androids that he created. Based off like human bodies.
I'm not actually sure what you're getting at here, Alex.
I just think it'd be a cool idea, dude.
Dude, he's actually the dead version of that doctor that made it in Dragon Ball Z.
The dead version?
No. What are
you talking about?
Never mind. The guy who made Cell is Android 20, right?
Yeah. Dr.
Okay, never
Jira.
mind.
Yeah, Dr. Jira.
Well, the dead version meaning he's a spirit, right? So, he's dead.
I want to point out how non-tactical his mask is. Everything is guarded but the nose. So the nose is totally like...
Oh, right.
Prone to get broken? Like,
yeah.
Like a fist
I'm sure on the scale that they fight at, like, a broken nose is like the least of your worries when, like, a sword is coming at you. But on the scale that I understand fighting, like, the nose is valuable and, like, a pain in the ass if it gets hit because you get all blinded and stuff. So that mask is probably the least tactical mask of all time.
Is it even really, like, a mask, though? It kind of looks like face paint.
I think it's a mask.
Could be face paint. Could be a mask.
Because I remember we talked about this. It showed him without the mask.
Or without the face paint.
But, like, would the paint have washed off so cleanly?
I think he was in, like, a bathtub, so it makes sense if you think about it. He's contemplating right now.
I'm really thinking about it, guys.
I mean, I don't know. Regardless of whether it's face paint or a mask, I really don't think that it would protect his face at all if he got socked by, like, Kensei, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it really makes a difference. Unless, like, I don't know, he, like, made it out of, like, obsidian just because he has that sort of scientific ability, you know? So you just...
They have obsidian in the afterlife.
Yeah, it's like, absolutely indestructible...
I think
material or something.
I think he's just Buffalo Bill, but like reincorporated into the Bleach world. That's
he's like, his mask is made of the skin of like people that he's killed.
Yeah,
it's gross, man.
That's fucking gnar.
Puts the lotion in the basket.
I bet his whole like cloak is made of like dead
Quincy's.
Yeah, exactly.
He
probably sticks his cock in like, a skin condom or something.
What?
So,
and yeah,
like Buffalo Bill, right?
Like I said earlier, like Kensei stabs her. He goes back to the real world after the flashback. They're doing their shits. They're talking. Oh yeah, this is kind of like an interesting point that I thought was interesting that we should hit. Byakuya's like, oh, like, maybe you should let them be dead again, because they're dead, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you should just let them be dead.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nah, man, like, you don't understand how, like, dire our situation is. Like, we need these guys.
Yeah, you kind of see, like, a sort of hint of his humanity.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's like Mayuri basically kind of saying, like, yeah, I get that this is kind of fucked up, but this is kind of what's necessary.
Yeah.
And I think this is what they would have wanted.
Yeah.
Rather than to just, like...
Even more than that, you get, like, a sense of his duty.
Yeah.
He seems like the kind of guy who doesn't give a fuck about anyone else, but actually he's...
Yeah, because...
he's doing the best he can.
Because, like...
He's doing everything.
A lot of his dialogue up till now has pointed out that he's not very fond of other captains. He's not very fond of Soul Society or, like, the Gote 13.
Even,
so,
like, taking orders, I'm sure he doesn't
hell no.
care much for.
No. So, like, to see him out here, like, on the front lines, like... He could very well have been killed. Like, he came out here on the front lines. He's fighting alongside of everyone. He's not really fighting, but he's fighting alongside of everyone. He's using, like, these corpses that, like, he even feels is, like, messed up, but he's saying, like, until we draw our last breaths, wouldn't you say that is the deepest desire of anyone in the Gote 13? And I don't think that's just talking about, like, the 2 dead bodies there. I think that's talking about himself, too. Like, indirectly, he's saying, like, I'm going to protect Gote 13.
Or, maybe he is... Another way of looking at it is he's just being manipulative again. in basically justifying what he's doing by. I mean, that's not beyond him either, though. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of part of the intrigue of him as a character is that you don't really know.
You don't know whether he's like
he's really in
shady
for
or
himself or yeah, you know.
He's just the most suspect character out there, man.
But yeah, there's something about this composition. I think Kubo's sort of attitude about it is that it's really we get to see the heart of the man who actually does care. Because I mean, there's like this like weird sort of shadowy outline.
I was just about to say that his suit is like all white and all light to where the Quincy's couldn't see him, but it has a shadow saying that like even though that like he's like doing an all white thing, like there is still a shadiness to what he's saying and doing. Like, or maybe
there's even a heart at the bottom of the page. Intentional.
And also, I also thought about it like the opposite way. Like the white stuff is like the bad evil, if you will, and like the shadow is like his humanity and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be kind of hinting at the fact that there's a sort of duplicity to his character, you know? It's a multi-layered, right? I mean, It's not like we're just kind of having, like, a close on his face that's, you know, with, like, these sort of unamused faces he's been having.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's like part of Mayuri's character is that you probably should never see his actual face in any sort of sincerity ever, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like it's important that we're looking at him from behind, almost in this like very like heroic stance.
Yeah.
That like we see again and again in manga, where it's like sometimes Naruto or even Luffy will say something like really heroic, and we're always looking at him from behind. Like there's this sort of element to him that you kind of want to aspire to, and he's kind of ahead of you, and like
even this panel down here, it shows him like. It's when he's talking to Byakuya, it still doesn't show his face. It shows like the side of his face, but like they're still just not showing like what he's actually thinking, because like his facial expression is probably like, you know, worth 1,000 words.
Do you think it's kind of odd though that Byakuya wouldn't agree with that? Of course, he says that's absurd, but like that's not really that absurd. And I feel like Byakuya especially is someone who's kind of dutiful, isn't he?
Yeah, he was willing to sacrifice a lot of stuff for his duty. Like,
yeah, so it's kind of like for him, he should be kind of like, you're totally right.
But maybe it's because also Byakuya has like a sense of honor to him.
Okay.
He has like a huge sense of honor to him. Honor is like a big deal to him, and like
let
you honor your
dead soldiers, be dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. A different kind of absurdity for Byakuya.
Dude, Pepe's still just like the best villain that we've had so far.
What makes it just because he's so ridiculous?
Yeah, dude. Like,
there's this sort of like a weird hostility I feel like that Kubo must have towards just black people, where he kind of like draws like I mean there aren't many black representative characters in Bleach, and like the one
I get more of like an Indian vibe.
Oh, an Indian? Yeah, well, I mean, I guess...
The way the beard is going.
Like a fat Gandhi.
Yeah, the way the beard is going and the way he was dressed.
Yeah, and his sort of theme, too, huh?
Like his pants he was wearing, like, it was more of an Indian vibe to me.
Basically black, I mean, dark as hell.
But yeah, I mean, because wasn't the other, like, there's another black guy, and he was just kind of, like, obscene looking, too, right? He was the guy with, like, the multiple eyes all over it. Wasn't he black? He was like a Rancor, right?
He was in a Spada.
A Spada, that's what I meant.
And the other black guy was Tozen, yeah, the blind guy.
And it's like, look at this stuff that's happening, man. The guy is just like obscene, right? He's like really portrayed as like just like gross.
Yeah, disgusting.
To every angle, it's got this like bulging.
Even the other Quincy's
crotch.
called him gross.
Yeah, and then he takes a fist to the face, right? Like really, just like really, really brutal, and he's like bleeding out the nose. And
Kensei's fist.
Yeah, that ain't just a fist. That fist has been up a few assholes, man.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, this kind of shows us a little bit of the hostility that Kubo might have towards
like
a race that's not his
I
own.
doubt it.
But... Dude, look at this barrage that this guy's
and look what happened to the black characters. Like, Tozen turned into a freaking, like, bee. A disgusting bee that gets raped. The Espada turns into like this disgusting other thing that's like had like a round base to it and had like a million eyes that also gets
he was kind of like an abomination for sure.
Yeah, and he also gets raped. And look at this guy, even though he's like what I believe to be portrayed as like Indian or maybe even Middle Eastern or something like that. Like he's just getting wrecked, you know? Like,
no, I mean, I can see that, like, when I say something like this, you're like, well, no, that's not really what he's thinking. But then you gotta think about it from a sort of subconscious level, too. It's like, why are these characters that, you know, specifically are portrayed as, like, really, really absurd and obscene looking and kind of get punished in, like, a sort of, like, very masculine sort of, like, get the fuck out of here sort of way? Like, why are they dark-skinned? You know what I mean? Like, why do they have to be? Why are they? I mean, doesn't it kind of seem coincidental that it's like this happens like almost more than one time? I would say, you know. And
like a lot of and none of the characters that died like an honorable death were like that.
They're cool characters. They're designed cool.
Dude, wasn't even Yami the Zero Espada? Wasn't he black?
Who's Yami? I mean, again, my knowledge of.
I don't think he was black. I mean, I don't think.
The Rage Espada.
He had some dark skin, but I don't think he's black. I think the only people who are black, the only person who is black is Tozen.
Oh, he's okay. So Yami has like a little bit of like sort of like
he's like a light skinned black
physical
guy.
Traits. I could kind of see.
He's like a Derrick Rose skinned guy.
Like bad acne.
Bad acne. But like,
I'm just pointing something out. Why couldn't
Stark have been black? You know, Stark died an awesome like honorable death and shit. Like, why couldn't Stark have been black? Like Jango.
Why couldn't Yamamoto have been black?
Yamamoto should have been black. Like he was
Blackamoto.
He was too
badass.
Dude. He's the Heat, dude.
Yeah. I'm LeBron James.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. Well, if you guys you're not interested, we don't have to really delve into.
No. I want to hear your hatred against black people, Alex.
My hatred? No, I'm pointing out.
You're pointing out the hatred against black. All right.
About that, I think that could be read into a little bit. There's this sort of like ethnic representation that's just kind of like. I feel like if you like, we might not pick up on it. All three of us are Asian, but if you were a black dude,
I am black though.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't forget.
If you were black, I feel like this is something you would kind of notice. You'd look at it and you go like, well,
why are all the black guys getting? Why are all the brothers getting wrecked?
Because I'm asking this because I don't know.
Why do black people die first in every movie?
I genuinely don't know. But is there a black character in Bleach that's like, I guess what you could say is honorable? Someone who's just been really, really strong from the get-go, and someone who's been really, really likable and has been a staple in the series? Is there like a black Bankai? Is there a black
Yoruichi, the cat bitch?
Who's I mean, that's kind of like arguable because she's a girl who's basically been sexualized to like the maximum. I'm talking like a male.
No, dude, the most sexualized is like
the big titty one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about just different body shapes. So like Yoruichi has been sexualized.
And
very, very, very heavily. There's no argument about that whatsoever. But I'm asking, like, is there like a sort of like?
What are you guys doing?
We do this every week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can leave. We're actually recording right
now. Yeah. How do you get back? How do you bounce back?
Listeners, that was my brother, and he had no idea what was going on here, and he decided that he would check in. But ignore the...
That was Henry?
That was Henry. What a huge surprise, huh? This is the first time of the 13 times.
The 13 times I've been here that I've seen him. He's like never here on Saturdays, dude.
Anyway, back to our discussion here. I would say that, like the sexualization of Yoruichi isn't really a negative thing for her, because what's his face? Kubo does that with a lot of other characters. Not as extreme as he did with her, but like think about like the honor that, or like how dedicated Yoruichi is. She saw what happened, and she could easily have like kept her position as like a member of the family of honor in Serete.
Well,
she decided to go with Urahara because she knows that he's right in this, and like
let me point something out there. Okay, so whether the sexualization of a character is a good or bad thing is obviously subjective to each person. And I can understand what you're saying, but there is something to it that you have to point out where it's like she as a character is there for your visual pleasure, and she as a female character that's sexualized is kind of there to basically for you to fantasize about and sort of be able to almost own in a sort of way. But it's odd that there isn't a male character who's holding his own in this story that is black. And I'm just simply pointing out that I'm not demanding that Kubo do it. I'm simply pointing out that it doesn't exist. And that kind of means something, I think. Whereas the black dudes that do show up, they're getting fucking pounded in the face and getting sort of portrayed as these like really obscene and gross people, right?
So at the end of the day, by doing that, Kubo is still exploiting the black people, just like they would keep the beautiful women to themselves.
I don't think that this sort of thing is like consciously deliberate though. Like I don't think he's trying to like push an agenda here. But I just think there's a sort
I think Tozen was a conscious choice. The other ones are kind of just like,
which one?
I don't know.
Was Tozen the one who worked with Aizen? Was that Tozen?
The blind one.
Yeah. He was one of the 3 defectors.
He even had like the Brillo pad hair.
Yeah, they're like spiky, right? Kind of like they're
he had like dreadlocks.
Yeah, dreadlocks that were like spiked up, right? Yeah.
The only reason I say he was deliberate is because like he back in the beginning he was friends, most notably with the Komamura or the wolf guy.
Yeah.
And I think that was just representation of like these two are kind of the other.
Right.
In the Gote 13, like they're sort of like
basically
visually.
Yeah.
The blind one.
Yeah.
The blind and dark skinned one. And the fucking like hybrid animal person.
And
so I think that was a conscious choice back when he made like good, I don't know, like deep choices for his story. But yeah, I guess he did kind of have sort of a ultimately that like villainous kind of hideous form in the end. So that was too bad, but
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, dude. There's something about it that I think is unavoidable when you look at these things, because maybe it kind of sounds like I'm saying, hey man, Kubo, like what the fuck, why isn't there a strong, like different ethnic male lead in this story, right? And you can come with the argument, well, it's his story, he can choose whatever he wants to do, and he can, and if he wants to not involve the sort of like ethnic aspect of it, then that's fine. But then he does choose to involve them, and the way he chooses to involve them, I think, is a little bit telling. Is simply what I'm just trying to point out.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good observation.
Are we?
I won't write it off. It's a good observation.
Are we beating a dead horse here?
I think we are.
I just like, it's just, we're looking at this this page on Rubdolls 3, page 18, where it's just like Pepe's just getting hammered in
by snowballs.
Yeah,
dude, that's Kensei's fist, man. That's like Gear 2 style.
And it's like, yeah, it's just like, I feel like it's reinforcing this sort of argument that.
Do you think that this is Kensei's Bankai? Because remember how his Bankai would shoot like air blasts, and it's showing air blasts as just white balls? Because he's wearing black gloves, so like maybe like he's I think
he's
gloves
just
are
really strong.
darker.
I think he's just like he's got. Maybe there's an element to it where now that there's zombies, they're just like monstrously strong, like off the get go, sort of. And
well,
like,
that was shown with Hitsugaya.
Yeah. Like it's like they're like on a different level of just physicality suddenly, for no real reason.
Yeah, retard strength.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's an interesting question though. Do you think that while there's actually we already know this. When there's zombie fight, they can't use Bankai, right? Because Hitsugaya uses Bankai.
Yeah.
He's not even like holding a sword when he punches him now.
Yeah.
So maybe it's he just like Gear 2nd style. Punch the shit out of him. Obviously Pepe is like super weak, so it doesn't take much.
Yeah,
but anyway,
even in his what's it called? His release thing.
What? The hell was that?
I can't think of the word. His release thing. I can't think. I always forget the freaking word.
Dude, wait! You saw the Star Wars like minus Williams thing, right? The video.
The what?
The Star Wars throne room scene minus John Williams music.
Oh yeah. It sounded like yeah.
Where Chewbacca's just like, nah.
Wait, Justin, did you see that?
No, I don't know. What you're talking
we gotta show it to you after the podcast, dude.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, listeners, if you haven't seen it, amazingly hilarious video.
No,
Check
we're not
it out,
advertising
man.
for anyone else, all right? We're
dude,
advertising for just us.
Just we gotta
dude, if you made that video, listen to our podcast.
Man. Yeah, we scratch your back, you scratch ours.
Yeah, exactly. Put a link on your next video to our podcast. Just saying.
Oh, what is the release that the Quincy's do? The Stern Ritter do. The shit. Volständig. I forget the freaking name every time. His Volständig happens and he still doesn't like become any like fight strength increase. His like Volständig happens and all he does is shoot like heart arrows instead of heart hands, like hand emotions. So like basically his fighting capabilities are probably like trash, just like the zombie bitches.
Yeah, pretty low.
And then this skinny little like thing,
the mouth bitch comes and eats him.
Well, we don't know that yet, but he probably. It's like completely pitch black. It's like very sort of ominous.
Dude, have you seen the music video for Chandelier by Sia?
No, but dude, we're not advertising other people.
Dude,
What's wrong with you? Come on.
The little girl that comes out in that music video looks exactly like her. Like this tiny, skinny, little, short-haired blonde girl, and it's just gnarly, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck you, Alex.
We'll take a look at it later. What do you think is gonna happen though? It's like, why do you think it's important that she's there in that she might eat this guy? Do you think there's a sort of like absorption process to it where maybe if she eats someone, she gets like their powers or something?
She is Cell, dude.
She is Cell. She's like Android 18.
He needs to be absorbed.
Like, is Cell.
That'd be gnarly.
She's gonna release.
She could, like,
she's gonna release her Volständig, and it turns out it's gonna be another kind of like zombification type power.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have another series of manipulation.
Getting sick of your shit, Kubo. I'm getting sick of your shit.
Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Dude, it's been broke.
I know, but don't tell him that.
It's been broke for like 200 chapters, man.
No, do tell him that, alright? Because
he's in denial, man. He's like, man, this shit is like rocking, dude. I'm on a roll here.
Dude,
Anyway, speaking of things that are broken.
Your dick?
Should we move to Naruto?
Yes.
Damn. Alright, and we're now moving on to Naruto 692. Revolution!
Viva.
Viva la revolution! Viva la raza! Alright, now
there goes our Mexican audience.
Yep. We had such a deep Mexican audience. They were so interested in anime.
Yeah,
anyway, it shows all the previous Kages disappearing into the afterlife. Their Jedi trick is over now. They're all going back. Blah 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 blah. They're saying, brother, let's leave it up to the next generation now. Yeah, they'll be cool. And he's like, alright, like, shows Obito becoming a tree, which he thought was significant.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot that happened.
He sprouts into the fastest growing tree in history.
Yeah, how the fuck did that? Maybe it was
It's because he had Hashirama's body in him. You remember how like he had surgically implanted Hashirama in him, and everything Hashirama-esque becomes a tree, like what happened with Danzo. Danzo almost became a tree.
I thought Obito was like literally a pile of ash. Why did we see his face still?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing.
That is Obito, though, right?
I think so. Either that or Zetsu. I think it's Obito, though.
It has to be Obito, because he turns into a tree, and that's the Hashirama trademark.
Yeah, like, why else would we see it? You know, it's like not really important.
This is just Kishi doing Kishi shit, man.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's like so like sad that we can actually say that now, because Kishi doing Kishi shit usually was amazing.
Yeah. I remember that.
How quickly that term or that saying has just like turned into a huge negative. It's very tragic.
Dude, people only love you for so long, man. People only love you for so long.
Except if he had concluded this correctly, like, people would have really felt like he had a legacy, and he would have probably been just glorified into the Hall of Fame of, you know, manga-verse. Kind of like,
Yeah. They would be talking about Naruto as the greatest manga story of all time and stuff. Like,
at least in terms of
that's kind of an interesting question. Would you guys put Kishimoto in, like, the Hall of Fame? Do you think he deserves to be up in that, conversation?
I definitely think he deserves it. Just because he had a pretty outstanding track record, I would say. I mean, up to Pain, that's like a majority of the Naruto verse, right? It's like he did like an amazing job for a long time. It just happened at the end, really. I mean, to not deliver on the final conclusion gets a lot of people fucking pissed, especially if you did such a good job making them invest, you know? Like, I mean, think about, like, how people... I mean, I haven't seen Dexter, but think about all the ways that people have been reacting to that, right? Like, supposedly, it was a really good series, right? And the conclusion was just, like, fucking bananas, right? And it's like people fucking, are
really mad about
legitimately hateful of the series now. Hateful of the series they used to love. Whereas, you could just be indifferent to something you never really gave a shit about because it was never that great in the first place.
So the question is, will he become a Dexter where they hate him after, like, you know...
Oh, I think that's already kind of...
Or will he become an Iverson, where even if his career crashed and burned, people still love him as one of the greatest?
I think that... okay, fine. I would choose the latter. I would hope that it would be the latter. Because
the majority of Naruto was written, like, beautifully. Like, up till, like, the end of the Pain arc. That was all, like, really good story writing. And that's, like, the majority of the time that it was on for.
Yeah.
The area that we're hating on has only been for like past 2.5 years, like
maybe like a fifth of the entire.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
of the entire.
And like the closing is like technically the most important part.
Yeah.
Like I would say that like till the day I die, the closing is definitely the most important part. But considering how great Naruto was and how he just fumbled at the end, and even though the story turned out kind of whack at the end, like it was still like something that. It wasn't bad enough to where I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not reading anymore." You know?
Yeah, it wasn't
it
like
turn me off
it wasn't
completely.
like Sasuke like killed Naruto just off like off screen.
Yeah.
and then like
wow.
And then
that would be just so tragic.
Sakura became like the Hokage and like
oh my god,
just, like, yeah, it wasn't like something like that happened.
Sakura is the one that has to take down Sasuke. Like, oh my god, like Naruto doesn't even.
That warrants stopping.
that warrants.
It wasn't even Sasuke
arson.
that kills Naruto. Like, freaking, I don't know. Rock Lee kills Naruto or some shit like that.
Like it was an accident.
Yeah.
Like he like tripped and fell. And he fell down the stairs like Kushina did. Or not Kushina. What's her name from One Piece? You know what I'm talking about? Zoro's kind of like love interest character.
Oh, I don't even know her name, but the other swordsman girl that he like trained with.
Yeah, he fell down the stairs and broke his neck or something.
He choked on ramen noodles and he died.
Yeah, dude. And like it just like cut to like dark shadowed face of the ramen owner.
Yeah.
and then he has the Rinnegan. And then Sakura gets the Rinnegan, dude.
Dude, actually, I think this story is way better than the one that Kishi told so far, actually. Alright.
You guys might have improved it, actually.
To continue the Kishi bashing, his resolution here, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go back to the water cave. Oh, I'm gonna go back to the forest. Yeah, because people aren't gonna be able to find you again, right? Like
and try to imprison you.
Try to seal you again, right? Like
talking about the beasts?
Yeah, the beasts. Like, are you serious? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, oh, we're about to return to our homes. You never had a home, dude. Come on.
What bothers me more about that is like they seem so like complacent and sort of content to just go live sort of a carefree life, whereas before they were just like mindless.
Yeah, they were rage monsters.
They're super.
Like I hated ever since like that shift in their attitude happened. I was like, man, all the like the initial sort of like fear built up around the tailed beast was like totally just extinguished for me.
Yeah.
And even now, like just seeing them as sort of like, oh, I'm like the spirit of the forest. I'm gonna go live there. It's pretty wag, man.
It is
like,
wag, for sure. I mean, like
fucking
I think,
like Karuma, just like I'll watch over him, sure.
And he's like, oh, hey Tails, what are you gonna do, bro? Like, he would be like,
I like Killer Bee. His raps are fucking funny. Like, no, man.
I'll say that I think the sort of character dynamic between Killer Bee and the A-Tails was kind of believable to me. Like, initially when we saw that they worked in harmony, because I felt like that was something that Naruto would have to do eventually. Because, I mean, that's why his father even bothered to seal Kuruma into him in the first place.
Yeah,
right?
Because if he didn't know that, like, the tailed beast could be controlled, then why would he give Kurama to...
Right, so, I mean, and especially because Naruto is kind of like the peacemaker, like, it makes sense that he would eventually get Kurama to work on his side, you know, and for them to have a sort of friendship, but, like, that's a really complex relationship that would have to be played out very complex.
Delicately.
Yeah, and it's like, it definitely was not handled complex whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was just like, it's just kind of like a flip of a switch.
It's not even that, though. It's like, I agree that ultimately it was leading to Naruto, like, taming, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
Taming his beast, but the way that they're characterized, it's just like they're just teenagers or something. It's really, it's stupid. It's like horrible. It's really cheap. It's like no thought goes into their dialogue or their
which is kind of
all.
what I was getting at. It's like that's the sort of relationship that the sort of character change for the Ninetales would be something that would have to be handled very in a very sort of the relationship and the
very
dynamic
delicately.
there would be very complicated. I feel like and Kishi wasn't having any of that. He was like, dude, I'm fucking over this manga.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have been happy if their characters, like, honestly, it wouldn't even have bothered me if their characters of the tailed beast were more like a Gamabunta, the frog boss.
Yeah.
You know how he's like, I'm the fucking boss. Like, you're not riding me. I'm letting you sit on my back. Like, are you, like, get that right. Get that through your head. You know, like, a mutual respect kind of thing instead of like, hey, we're free.
Which is kind of it's just kind of what B had with his A-Tails.
Yeah.
You know?
They talk shit to each other. Like, B, you're retarded. Come on.
They're actually like friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that I didn't really like.
Hey, fuck you, alright? B and Killer B don't, or B and the Hachibi don't like you, alright? I don't know, man. I was cool with it. Because for me, honestly, it was like the first time seeing where like the tailed beast and the what's the word for that? Jinchuriki were working together. So I thought it was a cool concept to me, and like Alex said, I knew at some point it was going to lead up to it where Naruto would have to tame him. And it's not going to be like Naruto tames Kurama if like Kurama like straight up hates Naruto, you know? Like, he's not going to like reluctantly be an ally, you know? He's going to be like, alright, fine, like, we're going to do this because we need to do this, you know? He's not going to be like, oh, like, I'm gonna, like, not come through for you at 1 second so you can get killed. Ha, fuck you, Naruto, or fuck you, Killer B. Like, they had to have been allies for it to work.
What about Hachibi and Killer B's sort of friendship dynamic did you not like?
Alright, well, basically, like, it humanized the beast too much. Like, it humanized the Hachibi too much for me. Like, initially, what we were going off of was, like, the Ninetales and the One-Tails, right? Kind of like these malicious beings. Yeah. They're like masses of chakra that kind of just like power hungry almost. They operate on like I don't know, they seem like the embodiment of like negative sort of energy.
They lost their bestiality? Is that what you're saying? Like
bestiality?
That's not the word I'm trying to go for. Their beasthood. They lost their beasthood. Kind of like their manhood, but they lost their beasthood by having conversations like...
Wait, but if any...
Back in the ancient times, the tailed beasts used to have sex with the humans, and they lost it eventually.
So you would just have preferred if the Hachibi wasn't under control either?
It's not that. I mean, the control part is fine, but it's like they were chums, man. They were sort of portrayed as like just good friends. Like the way that the Hachibi would talk to Killer B is kind of just like you would expect from like your friend. Like like a human friend, not just like.
I thought that was kind of the point though. But
I didn't like it because it totally went against like how they were characterized before. Mm-hmm. But then eventually it spun into like, okay, they're all like little kids at heart, right?
Yeah, and
they were all like very human.
Yeah, it got taken a little too far, but I'd have to ask like thematically, how would you have worked that out? Where it's like basically these Jinchuriki would be tyrants essentially because they would have control of these tailed beasts without. I mean, because there's a whole lot of what's the word? Not repression, but just a rejection of the idea of working hand in hand with the Jinchuriki. It's like off the bat, their sort of attitudes were like, hey, you're not good enough to use my powers. I'm only letting you use it whenever you want. So,
and
with
also,
the theme of...
they were kind of mad because they were like sealed into a human body instead of being able to run free.
Being able to do whatever the hell they wanted to. So with the theme of Naruto being this sort of like working in harmony with everyone else and the sort of like ability to compromise between each other, how would that through line have been made? Where it's like where Naruto, the character who basically is that theme, like, I mean, you said eventually he would have to control Kurama, right? The Nine-Tails character, the Nine-Tails. So how would he have been able to do that without kind of completely contradicting the main theme of the entire story?
I mean, it's not that I have a problem with. Like, eventually, I knew it was heading towards, they have to sort of, tame these sort of wild beasts, right? But it's how that they were portrayed after that really bothered me.
Right. I mean,
they're portrayed as just
I don't think anyone here has disagreed with that. We're all really irritated by the tailed beast.
That's my point. That's just my point.
Okay. Well, because I mean,
the way that Hachibi is just kind of
Well, I guess like for me, the reason that I was cool with the Hachibi being like that is because he was playing off of B's character and like the way I saw it, like B must have had tamed him for a while now, so the Hachibi is used to like a guy like B who's like a total goof and stuff.
Also, the aspect of B as a character is that he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would force the A-Tails to do anything he didn't want to. You know what I mean? Like he has no sort of like he doesn't want to do anything either. So it's kind of like their dynamic made sense because they really were kind of like best bros. In a way, because it's kind of like man, I just kind of want to kick it and enjoy life. I don't even really want to do this Jinchuriki thing if I don't have to. And I think that the A-Tails kind of like that aspect of it, where it's kind of like, okay, well, for the first time I'm being hosted and I'm not being told what to fucking do. Yeah. And it's like, and
this guy's just trying to kick it with me, And like the relationship between Gaara and the One Tails, the Shukaku,
yeah.
Like that was like okay, like Gaara is not in control in the slightest. Like Gaara like loses consciousness and the Shukaku comes out. The Shukaku's like, I'm finally free to do what I want. And like,
plus I think the Sand Village had a pretty nasty history about Shukaku and just like the way they were dealing with him. But then again though, so did the Thunder Country, because they had they had those scenes where the original Lightning Kage had to fight the like they would all fight and attack the Eight Tails together to like seal him in that little vase thing.
Everyone at some point had to attack and seal him. Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking really just a matter of character, and I think the character for Killer B was just that he was kind of ousted when he became the Jinchuriki, but his sort of like his stance on how to deal with his isolation was a lot different from Gaara, who like was basically going to be assassinated by his was ordered to be assassinated by the one person he loved or who loved him back. He thought loved him back, his father. Yeah. A lot of it plays into just like how human beings are just treated and how that affects their sort of development and growth. And Killer B had a lot of support, right? He had support from the
guy with like the weird line on his face that like gave him the first fist bump and whatever. Like,
yeah, I think. Are you talking about the guy at the island?
Kimoy or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, he ended up being kind of an asshole at one point. But I mean, I'm talking about like the Kage himself. The right Kage.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, hey, yo, like, you're really cool. And he wasn't really like, there was some sort of indication that's, as to Killer B as a young person, young Jinchuriki dealing with some sort of discrimination. But like, again, like his attitude was much more lax about it, But, I don't know, we're kind of going round and round in circles here. But I mean, I don't know. I think that, I guess another aspect I liked about Killer B and the Eight Tails sort of dynamic was that it showed a different personality that could exist within the Tails, and I thought that kind of helped.
That I didn't like.
You didn't like that? You thought they should all have the same attitude and the same personality?
More or less, because they are. I mean, they're all same, right? They're all split. Oh, I guess like you could argue that they do have different personalities because they're split parts of one being. So you could argue like they have different aspects of something, but like at the end of the day, they're still just like
tailed beasts.
Animal. They're like animal manifestations of chakra, and I just think the way that they were characterized was way too human, and I took them way less seriously. It's like almost emasculating, That was just what I got. They lost their beast-like qualities.
I was,
and you could still have that friendly dynamic though, for sure. But
I was okay up till when Naruto tamed Kurama. Like I didn't like the method that he tamed Kurama, but like how their relationship was, up till then was cool. But, like, later in the war, when, like, he's like, oh, my friends! And they're like, oh, my buddy, little Naruto. And it's like, oh.
I feel like that's actually kind of where you really start to see that Kishi gave up, sort of. Because Naruto controls the Nine Tails, right? He uses that seal that he learns, like, out of nowhere. And he draws out the chakra, and the Nine Tails is freaking livid. He's so pissed. You know, and I remember specifically, Naruto goes, listen, I'm sorry, like, one day we'll fix this. You know, he says that to Kurama as he's locking him away.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that writing right there indicates that Kishi had this sort of plan about how you can do this sort of thing and sort of betray this character and make them really feel like, there's no going back after this. At least for Kurama's character, right? Because he was really mad, and after that point, it was kind of like, man, even this fucking Jinchuriki I've been with, of course he would lock me away, because that's just what these fucking people do.
Yeah.
Right? And to go back and recover from that would be, I think, difficult, but also what makes these sort of things, these character dynamics so strong. And so, I mean, that happening, I feel, indicated that Kishi still was trying. And somewhere along the lines, he was just like, man, this is just, like, too much and too difficult for me to even really try to work through. And so I think there must have been some sort of switch at some point where we just decided that the Nine Tails was going to be cool with everything.
Yeah.
And I think that was some point in the war. I can't remember exactly when, but...
You know what it reminds me of? It's like, the Beast essentially turned into Digimon. Like, when you talk about that switch that he flipped, it's like, I need to just make this I need to make this explicit and easy. So then they just became like Digimon, you know?
Right.
Or like Pokemon.
If you look at like, I would have preferred more of like a balance between like maybe a little bit of humanization, which we had seen, and like still beastliness. Like Kiba's relationship with Akamaru. Like, we get that close relationship, but Akamaru doesn't need to say a thing. He still is like a dog, right? But we still get that closeness, and we feel that emotional sort of connection, but...
I don't know, Akamaru
I hated how too ridiculous.
If you're talking about sort of what was the term you said? Was it demasculating? Emasculating, right? It's like, Akamaru is like, incredibly emasculated, I feel like. I don't take the dog seriously at all.
He's
it's
neutered?
like always whining and like crying and like
Losing.
getting them being the plot device that actually gets them in trouble sometimes with where they almost get caught and killed. Like, so I mean, I'm not sure if that
I'm not comparing
works.
the Beast to the dog in terms of like power or whatever, but just how he was able to express that relationship with no words, like, you know, from Akamaru. Because you could still get that closeness from them, like that sort of companionship. He would do anything for Akamaru. Akamaru would do anything for him. I needed more like a balance, not just like, okay, the beasts are gonna be like best friends and
like in Pokemon, when
totally like flip the switch.
When like they beat the other Pokemon and they throw the Pokeball at it, and it's like, now it's my Pokemon, now it listens to me, just like that.
And then they send it out in the next battle.
Yeah, and then next battle, like, all right, now you're fighting for me. Go kick his ass. Like,
not like they're not like super like passive aggressive about the fact that they got their ass beat. Like,
yeah, and they're like
the
now
episode
subordinated
before.
in this little ball.
Yeah, they totally. Yeah, they should be too.
I've oddly not really thought about that before.
Yeah, dude, they just like lost. They're no longer roaming the wild. They're captured in this little ball where they can't do shit. And then they get called out next time, like, all right, you're fighting for me. Go fight that guy. And like, even if you lose, sucks. Like, I can take you to a Poke Center. You'll feel better in an instant.
Fight
Like,
till you faint. Yeah.
Chakra from every one of you has already been seeped into Naruto. So like, they're standing there in their full figures, but those aren't their full forms, basically, because they're technically chakra beasts. And Naruto still holds their chakra. So like, what percent of like Kurama does he hold now? And,
Totally unknown. Totally unknown. I mean, it's like, it's weird, man. I just don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, because like, I'll accept it. I don't know how much of the other tailed beasts he has.
Yeah.
But like, what percent of Kurama does he have? Like, that's what's like annoying to me. Like,
I mean,
we should know at least what.
Doesn't he say at one point like, "Oh, at least
it's
I
just
have the
it's like a really small percentage, I think. Barely any. It's like a remnant, like an afternote.
Because he says, "Oh, you missed me," right? And he's like, "I didn't miss you," and he's like, "Yeah, but I had the other half of you in me the whole time anyway, so it's fine," or something like it.
Yeah.
So does he have half?
Kurama says that. Kurama says you have half of me in you anyway.
Yeah. That's what it was. Was that the previous chapter, or was that this chapter?
That was like
a few chapters ago.
I don't remember.
But you remember it, though. You know
I remember
about,
exactly
right?
what you're talking about.
So,
did you miss me? He's like, I was with you the whole time.
I feel like if he has half of all those, though, like he should be like on a fucking other tier.
Yeah.
You know, even more than what he was during the battle. But.
Yeah, because Kaguya had all of them in her, right?
Yeah.
And Naruto only had a little bit.
So I guess supposedly, but I mean, it's really not clarified at all. I mean, hopefully it gets clarified in this confrontation they're about to have between Naruto and Sasuke.
And then they keep talking. When they talk about what your decision is gonna be, did your answer change? And Naruto says his answer is the same. What was his answer originally? Because he just talks about his mom, but what was his answer?
I was looking at that. It seems like a really useless sort of conversation.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what I thought about? My mom was actually pretty good. Like, no shit, bro.
Yeah, wait, what did her bringing up Kushina have to do with anything?
I don't know, dude. Kaguya was different.
She
was like an alien, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can
are you sure she wasn't different, or are you sure she was different? Because I thought she was the same as you.
So the reason they brought up Kushina is because they're both moms.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. I don't.
No, you know who else probably had a good mom? Sasuke's mom, who was fucking murdered. So let's pour one out for her.
She did give birth to like 2 strong ass Uchihas. That did happen.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
And they're talking about it's like, oh, she's warm and caring like a goddess, but she ate that fruit. Like, what the fuck? Whatever the case.
Original sin.
You are different than my mother. Like, all right, you're obviously different from the mother. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's just kind of a useless comparison, I thought.
And it's like, oh, how are you going to dispel the infinite Tsukuyomi? Well, I don't know. I only created all jutsu.
Well, so he says, with Sasuke's Rinnegan and Naruto, who has the chakra of all the tailed beasts, if they combine their seals together, they can release the jutsu. So they do have their seals still. Because I think in the previous podcast we were saying, do they have their seals? I think they don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
And so they still have the stuff that they had before.
Wounds.
Yeah.
What the seals? What did you say? Sorry.
On page 9, Kurama asks the Six Tails, like, how do you intend to dispel the Tsukuyomi? And the Sixth Path, the sage says, well, Naruto has the chakra of all the tailed beasts, and Sasuke has the Rinnegan, and when they both put their seals together, they should be able to release the jutsu. That's what he says. So, I mean, I was pointing out the fact that, they do still have their seals, because I think that was a point of confusion for us last chapter.
Yeah, it disappeared from their palms, and they also, like... The seal means they have, like, the power, too, right? Because he technically still has the eye, so technically Naruto should still be able to summon the Godu Dama and, like...
Yeah, and become sort of this ethereal Super Saiyan guy.
And then we go to the great reveal moment... Where it says...
So they literally have to, like, high five and then they fucking, like, release the Tsukuyomi?
I guess.
Guaranteed brohood right
Maybe
there.
it's like a firm handshake, you know?
No, but it's
Bro,
on, like...
no jutsu.
It's on, like, opposing hands, though, isn't it? Like, Sasuke has it on his left hand and Naruto has it on his right hand, so they can't even shake hands like that.
So then maybe they hold hands.
They have to hold hands, dude. Damn. I knew it was about gay love this whole time.
Dude,
man.
I read the most, like, just hilarious thing. This guy was, I think, a commenter. I can't remember where. Maybe it was on the Manga stream forum, but it was like, oh, what if in the end Naruto seals Sasuke inside him? Like, literally, Sasuke is inside Naruto, dude. He seals Sasuke inside him.
He's like, sorry, Sasuke, I gotta summon your powers, and he gets like the eyes.
And then Naruto becomes like the evil dictator, like all powerful.
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
Kim Jong-ruto?
Kim Jong-nar.
Kim Jong-nar, oh my god.
Okay, well, so we go on to the next page where...
Page 10.
Yeah, there's the big reveal here.
The great reveal.
The great reveal. Sasuke still has very demonic sort of intentions.
He looks so emo here, man.
Yeah. His hair's over his face. So much
He's like, but first I'm gonna kill them. He's like hunched over. He's like mumbling to himself.
They're just like, wait, what'd you say? We can't hear anything.
Yeah, stop mumbling.
No, that was my portrayal of Sasuke delivering the dialogue. Because he's like hunched over, like looking down. He's like, I'm gonna I'm gonna go execute the 5 Kages or something.
He's like that. Like a pouty little kid. I'm still
exactly.
Still gonna kill the 5 Kages.
Like, what'd you say? Like, nothing, let's get tacos after this.
Yeah.
You guys want to get
Let's
shawarma?
Get shawarma. Let's get ramen.
And then, they all have blank expressions on their face. Except for Sakura and Kakashi, because those two are useless in the equation.
Definitely would not call those blank expressions. They're kind of like...
That's
suspect.
The blankest expression ever.
No, dude, that's almost like... There's a little hint of malice in there, actually, like, I knew you were going to do
That's genuine shock.
Well,
we're talking about the first expressions of Sakura and Kakashi?
No, we're talking about Naruto.
Oh.
Because he's saying that Naruto's face has a blank expression. I'm saying there's almost.
I thought you were talking about Sakura and.
No, I think those two are just genuine shock, right?
Yeah.
And both the Sage of the Six Paths and Naruto are kind of like this fucker, like they kind of knew it was coming, right? That's kind of what's indicated in their face, like.
Yeah.
I think Naruto got hard right there.
It's like, yes, I gotta fight him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he like just too easily takes over the tailed beast because, that's just like child's play to him. So basically, we have another situation where the bad guy is way too strong for the good guy because that's just apparently like a normal thing in this story.
Well, I mean, I think it's normal for any story, right? Like the main obstacle at the end of the story has to be hard to overcome for the protagonist.
It already was. The main obstacle was overcome. I don't want to see this bullshit, man. That's my opinion on this. It should be. I mean, I'm sure it's yours too, right, Justin?
Yeah, I'm over it. Like,
we just got to the fucking ending of the story, and this shit happens,
dude,
man.
You know what, man? Like I said last time, I basically lived like the majority of my adult life wanting to watch this fight, Sasuke and Naruto final showdown.
Like every second of your life.
Yeah, that's all I live for now. Right? All I live for, and like the way the story turned out, like I would have accepted it not happening. I would have been like, all right, fine, you troll ass bastard Kishi, you've already trolled me so much in these past 2 years with this shit story that might as well continue to trollhood and like close out by not having them have their final showdown. But he's like, oh no, but wait, there's more, and he like has them come out here and they're ready to have their final showdown. It's like, all right, fine, fuck you, Kishi.
I'll say this. So, I mean, in the previous podcast, I think I've said this multiple times, but it's like I've had my opinions about when this confrontation should have happened, right? Naruto versus Sasuke, and their sort of ideals clashing, and what comes out of it, and how they learn to work together to defeat, whatever force which probably should have been someone more like Madara.
Yeah.
But what I'm gonna say is that so this is kind of out of whack, and the story's been kind of weird, and so this fight seems unnecessary. But for the first time now in a while, I feel like we're finally gonna get a fight that is actually about something, that kind of gets back to what the story was really about. And so it's sort of unsatisfying because it got to the destination
forced.
Yeah, it took a road that no one really wanted to go down. It's actually not really even a road. It's just kind of like, it's like having a navigator who's going to take you up to like San Francisco from like Los Angeles, and he decides to like go out to like Texas first, and then like kind of squiggle around, and like you end up in like Alabama or something before you finally get to like, it's like all these sort of irrelevant ways that had nothing to do with getting to where you wanted to go, and it just like kind of
You're trying to go to Canada, but you end up in Mexico, basically.
Before you end up in Canada.
No, we don't even end up in Canada.
You don't even end up in Canada. You end up at like the sort of like the Canada. What do you call those those country stations in different countries? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like a colony? Like
No, like
what?
Like in the UK or like any other country, there's like the US something. You know what I mean? It's like the area.
Oh, embassies.
Embassy, yeah. It's like you end up at a Canadian embassy in Mexico. That's what I was trying to get.
Like you end up in Alaska. Like, oh, we're kind of in Canada.
But anyway, so I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I think, yes, obviously we're gonna be really pissed off, and this fight isn't gonna be anything like what it could have been. I feel like for the first time we're gonna get a fight. Not for the first time. For the first time in a long time, we're gonna get a fight that is gonna be a little bit more profound because it's actually gonna be about something.
Because it's been rooted in the story since the beginning, basically. These two kids are rivals.
Yeah. Whereas the Kaguya fight wasn't really about anything.
Yeah, who cares about Kaguya? Like, are you serious?
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we're hanging on for entertainment as we should, it's like we might get some more.
Yeah, and we might see an actual cool fight, whereas like the Kaguya one was all trixies.
Which I feel like, you know what, maybe Kishi is actually going to try now, at least for this final thing. Where it's like, because you guys are saying, well, why?
How many times have we been fooled already, Alex? Don't fall for it.
Because you guys have said yourself, why is this even here, right? Because if he really wanted to end the series, he would just end it. It would be over. This fight wouldn't happen. But I think to some degree he must realize just how badly he's treated his series, and so now that he's actually putting it into conclusion, he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna finish it up with something decent.
Now he's like, oh wait, I don't want to end it anymore. He's been rushing along for the past like 2 years, and he's like, oh, hold on, I don't know what I have till it's gone. Let's throw in the fight. It's happening. It's going. He calls all his like artists and developers. Hey, the fight's happening.
It's more just like a horrible pacing issue for me.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it. I mean, I like this. Like, I like the idea of Sasuke's calling for a revolution, and that's kind of what he was building towards before. Right. And that he should have just stuck to that instead of all this like Kaguya stuff and like Infinite Tsukiyomi stuff. Like, if it just seems like a really horrible pacing thing, and it's like, I don't know. It came so soon after this resolution of the big sort of end of the series arc, and now it just seems whack. Might as well have trashed it or committed to it in the first place. But it's his manga.
It's all of our manga.
It's kind of like
this manga belongs to all of us, guys.
It's the people's manga, man.
It's the people's manga.
Take it back. I'm calling for revolution.
Yeah, we're calling
overthrow the evil dictator.
Kishi. Yeah, Kishi the tyrant, dude.
So he seals up all the tailed beasts, which they should just be able to break them with tailed beast bombs, but whatever.
But they're kind of
what is the Chibaka Tensei?
It's like gravity. It's like the core gravity of like a planet.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he creates the little things and he sends them up into space.
Or like, why not use them? He has control over them now, right? Why not use them in the battle?
I think he took control over them just so they don't break out of the little circles. And I think he wants to fight Naruto without them.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can make the argument though that he's not really fighting at his full potential because he just used a bunch of chakra and is probably still using chakra, keeping them under control, and with the Chibaka Tensei still active, right? So he has to focus on that on some end while fighting full frontal against Naruto, right? I feel like
maybe him controlling the tailed beast isn't his fight style. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's like something that like
Madara did.
Yeah, you know, like.
But I mean, if Madara could do it with just the Mangekyo Sharingans, the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingans, then he should be able to do that easy.
But Naruto or Madara, he only did it with one, didn't he?
He had the Nine Tails.
Yeah, he only had the Nine Tails. Imagine trying to control all of them. I think like.
But he has the Rinnegan, man, and he's like on god tier level now. He should be able to do it, I think. And it would have been perfect too, because it's like supposedly Naruto has half, right? The other half. So if it was established, if it was concrete at this point, that Naruto has the other halves of all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Then it's like all the other halves inside him versus Sasuke, who has all the other halves externally, and he's controlling and manipulating them and making them fight. Could be kind of interesting.
That would have been cool. And Naruto's fight style would definitely be able to fight a freaking tailed beast. Like, oh, you're a giant creature? You're a giant target. I'm gonna chuck this like Rasen Shuriken at you, you know? Like,
do you think it's gonna be a fight or just talk?
It's gonna be a fight, obviously.
I mean, maybe not.
Dude, it's gonna be a fight for sure.
Kishi has like definitely gone against expectation quite a bit in the past few years. So
I was right about this happening in the last podcast, so I'm pretty sure I understand where he's going with this, and I think there's definitely a confrontation here. Physical.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, we want to.
I mean, it was predictable, but like I was really hoping it wouldn't happen, just because it's so out of place. But who do you guys actually?
I will bet you now
that
there's gonna be a physical fight coming up. If you want to make that.
So what's gonna happen at the end of the fight then?
dude, you know what's gonna happen?
I don't know what's gonna. That's not what we're discussing though. What?
Dude, here's what's gonna happen.
But what's the point? What's the point of the fight then?
I don't know, to show Sasuke the way, I guess, is kind of what's right. What's
so
on the
that's
line for Naruto.
how's that gonna happen?
I don't know. That's not. That's a discussion in of itself. That's not what we were talking about. What we were just talking about is whether or not they were gonna talk and not fight at all, or whether they were gonna fight. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be talking, yeah, because this is Naruto. But
Naruto's gonna do the bitch shit he did last time, and like be like, "I'm gonna sacrifice myself so you can see the way, Sasuke. I'm gonna do it." Because he says he's going to end the brothers' feud here, right?
Yeah.
And the brothers' feud up till now was them fighting over who takes control.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he fights and beats Sasuke and takes control, then the brothers' feud just continues.
Right, so I mean,
he's going to, like, concede and they're not going to fight.
I think, we can go back to what he said way early on in the series, back when the story was still about Naruto and Sasuke. Where, they're at Sasuke just killed Danzo, and Naruto shows up and sees him again for the first time in a long time, and I think he shouts that they're both gonna die the next time they fight, because he kind of alludes to the fact that their fists met, and when their fists meet, they can understand each other.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like going back to their original fight at the Valley of the End, and he says they're like, you know what's gonna happen the next time we fight? Like, we're both gonna die. And so that's kind of like an interesting sort of twist that could happen. I don't think that's what's going to happen, though. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to fight it out in as bros, sort of, eventually, like, kind of what it's going to turn into. And
You ever seen the movie
so then it's
Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, they're going to start making out and doing it on the floor.
No, but I mean, that's the sort of like the sort of angst inside getting let out. They're just kind of venting their own frustrations at each other, but they both at heart know that they're both there for each other, right? And so they get to do that. They get to vent all this like frustration in a physical form, and at the end of it, it's like, all right, it's all laid out on the table. Let's just
we've just destroyed the world.
Oh, I can't wait to read 10 chapters of that to have that be the conclusion.
Or like wait.
It'll be 2 chapters. This is Kishi, man.
What was I?
I would hope so.
I was trying to say something. I kind of already forgot it though. I lost it. Oh well.
They're both gonna die, and then Kakashi's gonna become the
the new Kage.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
What if Naruto like plucks both of Sasuke's eyes out?
I think that was another thing someone said too, like, kind of like the Avatar: The Last Airbender series ending, where it's like, what if he takes the Rasen Shuriken and cuts off all of Sasuke's chakra connections, severs all the chakra connections inside his hands, so he can't use chakra anymore.
You'd have to do it in the eyes. I think Sasuke's hands are basically like nothing, and it's the eyes that are the most scary.
Yeah, definitely. He'd have to pluck those things out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the real dominion, right, is being able to change his ideology, and I think that's what the story's always been about, and what's going to end up happening at the end, where Naruto convinces him finally to see the light, and Sasuke will be like,
Yeah, that's what's like bothering me, because like it seemed like Sasuke did already, that's how we got to this point.
Yeah,
but then
that's what I'm saying.
But then it was just like kind of like a last minute sort of
Not really.
Nope.
I mean, that's what I was saying last chapter, was that there's a lot of indications that he's still got a lot of darkness in his heart. And you guys were saying I think at the last podcast, that like that wasn't the case, and you don't think that this wasn't going to happen. And I think that it's been alluded to plenty of times that he's not happy. And I can't really think of an event really that has happened since the Itachi incident that would really change his mind and make him feel like he shouldn't be doing things the way he's doing right now.
Well, maybe the fight with Kaguya? That's kind of a big deal.
Not really. It was just a thing he had to do to prevent the world from being blown up. He had no choice.
He had that whole sequence with the Kages, right? The whole reason he wanted to hear what they had to say was because he's like, okay,
right, but if
I like what you say, then I'll change my mind.
But I mean, what happened?
So that was kind of compiled.
It wasn't like he never actually got, I think, a satisfying answer for himself. He just knew. He just understood what. Actually, I'd have to go back and read it to really, really be able to make an effective argument. But what I got from it out of that, from what I remember, is that it wasn't enough to make him go like, okay, I'm doing everything wrong and I need to not do it this way anymore.
I think he gave a pretty, like,
Wait, hold
I'd say he gave like a pretty 75% like indication that he did sort of change his mind from that. It's like that was the last thing to tip him to the balance.
I'm going to say with Alex that I don't remember too well what happened, so I can't make a call on this actually.
Yeah. But I mean, that's pretty indicative, actually, that if we don't really remember, then it probably wasn't that effective,
What do you think? How is it going to end, do you think? Like, just kind of change his ideals?
Yeah. I mean, they're probably going to beat each other in a submission, and they're both going to be exhausted. Kind of similar to what Sasuke and Itachi... Justin's like looking at me. It didn't really occur to me what he was like looking at until I thought about the word choice.
Yeah. Your diction.
Yeah, but kind of similar to what Itachi and Sasuke went through, where they were both just kind of out of juice. They were just kind of like completely.
The reason they're fighting is because they have too much juice. They just want to like release.
It's just like
empty the sack.
like a circle jerk.
So then it's gonna be like Naruto will let Sasuke win, and then Sasuke will see.
No. I'm just saying they're gonna be put into the point of exhaustion, kind of similar to that, and I don't know. I mean, I can't really make a call as to what the specifics are of the event, but I would guess that Sasuke's ideals would be changed by seeing how selfless Naruto's been from the very beginning, really.
But Naruto's always been tough, and Sasuke's always been a bitch, so who knows, man.
Dude, Sasuke's character is pretty tough if you really, really think about all the shit he went through and how much of a tug and pull he had between what he could have in life, like happiness and friendship, versus this sort of need to avenge the fact that he's in time. I mean, I guess people get really upset with him, but I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. I definitely understand where he's coming from. I mean, there's all this talk about peace and everything, but he's like probably the most major character to have dealt with the complete dark underside of all of this, and he sees that, and he can't let it go. And I think that this fight is going to be about that, where he has to realize he does have to let it go, and he has people worth living for and allowing to live. I guess I don't know. I guess he's gonna learn to put his faith in Naruto as the kind of person who will lead the charge in a new sort of age of the age of ninjas where Naruto is not gonna allow or even accept any sort of thing that would, I guess, build up to something like the Uchiha massacre. Which is a very idealistic and kind of naive position, but in this manga, it's
I don't know why he wouldn't have gotten that point from the like teamwork that they just exhibited, right? Like he has to be beaten by Naruto in order to see that.
That's what I'm saying.
The teamwork they just like work together to take down the like devil of the world, right? So
yeah,
because the Kaguya fight was significant enough in my opinion.
No, because Sasuke, like if you consider that Sasuke still had this very sort of mindset that he just reveals, right? If he had that mindset going into the Kaguya fight, he had to team up with Naruto in order to take her down, because he wouldn't be able to have this ninja revolution that he wants if he wasn't able to take care of the person who wants to submerge the entire like world in illusion. So I mean, just because he fought with Naruto to take down something he couldn't beat on his own doesn't mean that his ideals have changed.
But that's justifying the like getting to this point. I mean, like, I don't understand how their fight is gonna change it any more than everything he's already been through, unless it's gonna result in like a tragic ending of either him dying or Naruto dying.
Maybe. I mean, like I said, I don't know the specifics, but it could be that he dies.
I'm leaning towards what John is saying here. He's basically saying like why is it that like everything that they've done so far, which is like kind of a lot of shit that they went through, like they both saved each other a lot of times, and like why would like all that be meaningless? But like when he fights with Naruto, oh, now I understand.
Well, because I mean, when they fought to save each other, they were actually good friends, and his desire to not be friends anymore and to get stronger was because of Itachi. So that's kind of aside from this right now. So he leaves and he finds out things about Itachi, and then he gets corrupted basically by Obito and Madara.
Who are both dead now.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, he's been corrupted though. He's been corrupted though, and he hasn't really had an interaction with Naruto to get him back to square one. He hasn't really had that yet. He's only had brief moments where they talk. But I mean, in the moments that they talked, he was being corrupted by Madara and Obito. I think he has yet to have had a real interaction with just Naruto on just a really, really huge scale. But I don't know. I mean, this is just... I guess this is just how... I don't know. This is what I see. I mean, I guess we won't really know until we actually see what ends up happening.
It's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of, I'd say, like...
inconsistencies that have occurred.
Right. Since, and, yeah. And, like, a lot of convolution, like... where we have this dichotomy of like Indra versus Ashura. So in one sense, you could argue it's destined to happen, and it's never going to stop just because they're the brothers, right? So like even if Sasuke did have a change of heart, like this is just like a recurring thing. It's like history repeating itself. But then like before we even knew about them being reincarnations, it was like Sasuke's issues were his personal issues, and Naruto was always trying to be like his light to bring him back. So it wasn't just about like, you know, a reincarnation of like a cycle.
Right.
So like I feel like Sasuke's faced his demons up to this point, and he's kind of he should have maybe come to terms with everything that's happened. Like he got some closure on the tragedy in his young life, and
he definitely got that.
Yeah, he definitely got that closure. He wanted revenge, but then Kishi made it seem like, okay, maybe because of the history of like, you know, Madara and Hashirama, maybe that's not the best way, like this endless cycle of fighting. So it's kind of like a weird, I don't know, like
contradiction.
You know, it's kind of convoluted, yeah, sort of. So it's basically like an endless cycle, which is kind of a cop-out, I think. But that's just because Kishi added that element of like, these are the spirits of the brothers destined to be locked in this battle.
Which I think is all the more reason why Naruto ends up changing Sasuke's ideals and doesn't let him die. I think that I would guess that that's going to be the ending of the story, is that neither of them are going to die, and Sasuke is going to change his ideals, and together they break that cycle, the sort of hatred between the two brothers.
Kishi's got a pretty monstrous task to make that believable, though.
And he's been choking in the fourth quarter as of late.
Everything's like a basketball illusion.
Everything is a basketball illusion.
But yeah, so I mean, that was a pretty long discussion about it. You guys want to head on over to One Piece?
Alright, that's our discussion of Naruto.
Do we have time for One Piece, do you think? We've been going for like an hour and a half already.
Dude, honestly, I don't know.
One Piece is the chapter.
Honestly, we could like make our own podcast, like a separate one just for One Piece this time, because this is an extremely long one.
Why don't we sync the claps then? And if we want to separate it out into like podcast 13.a One Piece, then we.
You know what? There is no Naruto next week, so maybe we could do both One Piece chapters next week and then just Bleach. So it's like a regular podcast.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, we can do that.
All right, listeners. Unfortunately, we are unable to get to the meat of the meal here, and we ran out of time for recording One Piece. But voila la la, One Piece or Naruto is going to take a break next week.
Hiatus.
And that's just going to give us some extra time for One Piece, which we shall cover 2 chapters next week. Whoa. So yeah, that's going to happen. If you guys are missing out on One Piece, sucks for you. This is what's happening. We had extra long discussions on Naruto and Bleach. So yeah, we're going to wrap that shit up. It's your boy Jahan, here with Alex. And our special little douche from Japan, John, who will not be speaking at the moment because I've dispatched an assassin to slit his throat. And thank you, though. Yeah.
John's laughing, but he's not recording right now, so it's...
No, he's not laughing, all right.
On his side.
He's laughing. All right.
He's gurgling blood.
Yeah. All right, guys. Later.
Bye.